What up, y'all? I had to do it quiet. Kids asleep.
Welcome
to the J&O Show.
What we talk about? Quiet storm.
Yo, Terrence Howard does an interview with Valuetainment and Patrick Bet-David talking about what it means to be a man.
He ain't bending over.
Whoa! Giving away your man card.
That's what he said.
And besmirching the advancements of Diddy. Y'all can stay to the end because we was tripping this whole video.
It's late. We giggly.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think
world.
that is? What the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far, you know? Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head, you know? But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You
You heard what he said.
Yep.
Ooh, you know exactly what he's saying. Okay.
I know this ain't our usual show, but since it seemed like this is popping off just a little bit, I wanted to sit down and expose my wife to this very interesting interview. For a straight guy, I guess that would be true. I wouldn't know, but just the visceral reaction that most straight guys have, pretty sure it's what he's saying.
I don't know how else you're going to take that. He said a man gives, he doesn't take. You heard what he said.
You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So
now what was interesting about that part is that he was like, if you give up the things that are natural to you in being a woman, like being a mother, whoa, nowadays that's a cancelable offense. Like, you can get canceled. But I guess the thing is, because he said if you don't do it, that you'll be sort of off, or maybe you'll regret. I don't know how to word it.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
They call it the wall in Red Pill. I know that a lot of people.
When the wall cometh.
When the wall cometh. Oh, the wall cometh. For all of us. Yep. That's how I used to say it.
Yeah, that's true.
We're being a little quiet, guys, because the kids are in bed or going to bed, and they literally right above our heads. So, but we had to get this in to make sure we had some things to drop. It's been a crazy weekend, and Terrence Howard just popped up on my timeline, and I was like, oh. Then I saw what the thumbnail was, and this is from Valuetainment. Puffy tried to me, so I was like, wow, this ought to be interesting.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but it's a lot of people that's like coming out the woodworks talking about Hollywood and the things that go on.
Holly weird. That's what they call it now.
Yeah. Just want to highlight that. Push play.
So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once it go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card no matter what.
Man, I mean, you know, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything.
Yeah, that part.
Yo.
Sold your soul.
Okay, so the video we dropped yesterday, by the time this come out, the video we dropped yesterday, we were talking about guys, make sure that you're a father. Don't work so much that you're not a father, that you're just absent.
Right.
Because you could regret it. And then we have this video, and to see what he's talking about, it's a similar thing. For whatever reason, we feel that it's okay to lay down worship at the altar of money and success and fame in America, because to be honest, that's the only thing that it seems like people, no matter what your personal ideology is, no matter what your theology is, your belief system, that's the one thing that everybody bows down and worships. I done seen Christians who are very versed in the Bible. Like, you start talking about money, like some of them jokers just act completely different. I told y'all before, I think it might have been in the same video from yesterday or just last week, I was saying that the two hardest things for people to overcome are gonna be sex and money. And money is more universal because, you know, women don't have the draw to sex the same way that men do, but they still fall for it as well. Probably not in such a large number in a way that men do, but a lot of women tend to fall for those two things too. And they all agree, like, people will lay down everything they believe in to get that money.
Yeah, that's why the good book says the love of money is the root of all evil.
And you know what? I heard somebody say that it says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, which does put a little bit of a spin on it. I'm starting this thing where I'm gonna just start looking up, like right in the middle of the video, so that we can, men. I said the love of men. See, he messed me up. The love of men is the root of all kinds of evil. Okay, so I want the verse. 1 Timothy 6:10. Let's do it in the KJV.
King James.
KJV. Oh, they got my versions memorized. They know which ones I like. For the love of money is the root of all evil. See, they be changing stuff. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet it after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
That's the KJV version.
Yeah.
And then the
The NASB, which is the one I was gonna look it up. For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. And some are longing for it have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And that's common. I see a lot of preachers preaching about money and how it's okay to be rich and all of that other stuff. And to be honest, if you're blessed with it, you're blessed with it. But
I think it is okay.
I think the issue is the pursuit of it.
Not everybody can handle it. Yeah.
Oh, most of us can't handle it. That's why most of us don't have it.
Yeah, that part.
But let's see what else they say.
If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. Bruh. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman.
Wow.
When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing. And have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss.
No pun intended.
Whoa. Okay.
Actually, no, he meant that.
He meant that.
He meant that.
Dudes don't move like this no more. There was a time that dudes moved like that because dudes don't want nobody to say, oh, he's just threatened. He's scared to show his sensitive side.
What?
All right, so back in the day, because I'm older, y'all. I'm freshly dyed, so y'all see me called dark. And, you know, I look like I'm 32. But I'm older. And
You ain't that old.
I'm not old, I'm older. But so in my time,
Word.
back in my day,
Word.
you know, when I was growing up, as we
I'm just waiting for you to be like, and a Coke 45.
But yeah, as I was on my way walking to school, 32 miles. Newspaper on my feet because we couldn't afford shoes. Okay, so look, when I grew up, I'm thinking about, you know, my parents, their generation. It wasn't because they were scared to show their feelings and all that stuff. They didn't have those feelings like they do now. The men was different. I used to look at my uncle's hands. All their hands was hard. Now they were from down south. They were farm boys. So they had hard hands, bro. And they just was, you know, all of that soft stuff. They just wasn't with it.
Nope.
Terrence Howard is not from that generation. He's my generation, but he definitely still moves in that way. Because I've heard a lot of people talk about him and like he's one of them dudes, you don't mess with him. I've heard about him coming on to women on set and they feel uncomfortable because of the way he do it. So, you know, I'm just saying it's hilarious to me.
I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that because the man card means everything.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood because of this specific reason?
I'm still working. I still, you know, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the Chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe.
That was quite an interesting piece of an interview there. I don't know. I feel, part of me feels like, okay, this is like talking to somebody from, well, not from my hood, because he don't sound like it, but, you know, one of my boys, they be like, man, you don't do that.
Nope.
I don't know
Terrence
what you
Howard's
talking
a
about.
pimp. Okay.
Bruh.
He been a pimp.
My man is wearing his pimp hat with like a silk hoodie. It's not.
He do look silky though.
He got a silk and cashmere hoodie.
Yep.
Up under what looked like a cashmere and wool cardigan, bruh. The hood of the hoodie on and the hat on top of it.
He pimping.
That is a pimp named Slickback. That's what that is.
A pimp named Slickback.
And anytime you say his name, you got to say his full name. You can't say he said it. You got to say a pimp named Slickback said it.
It's a pimp named Slickback, like a Tribe Called Quest. You say the whole thing.
That's how he look. So that was interesting. You know, a lot of guys don't understand this. You know, everybody thinks it's cool to be fluid and everybody wants to be progressive and stuff like this. So hearing stuff like this, I expect this to be viral, at least a little bit. Just because following Anthony Mackie, is weird to hear these black men speaking in this other sense, even though Anthony Mackie, he did the one thing Terrence Howard was like, I would never do. But that might be the reason why Terrence Howard didn't have the success that Anthony Mackie did, because Anthony Mackie was willing to do that scene.
Because he not trying to sell a soul.
He's
That's
not
why.
trying to sell it. So,
Y'all remember that Terrence Howard was in Iron Man?
Yes.
You remember he was in Iron Man?
yeah, he was Rhodey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was gonna be War Machine.
Yeah. Makes you wonder what happened. Why he didn't finish out the series or the trilogy, not even a trilogy, but the
I'm gonna see what they say.
Rhodey.
Salary dispute, and they said difficult onset behavior.
Look at my face.
Robert Downey Jr.'s salary increased significantly. They wanted to renegotiate Howard's contract, offering him less than he originally had agreed upon. He felt undervalued and demanded a higher salary, which led to a breakdown in negotiations and his eventual replacement by Don Cheadle. I'm cool with Don Cheadle. Yeah. But Terrence Howard is different.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard is
bring a different type of...
He's different.
Are you deaf? I'm a pimp named Slickback. Say it with me now.
Could have been.
Maybe.
I don't know.
He seems like he's very opinionated, but any guy who is like a real man is going to be very opinionated. Yep. And they're not just going to bow down to whatever your thoughts are. They're going to challenge you. Yeah. Especially if you're a successful guy and you're not just like, I'm just happy to be here.
I am very happy to be here.
Comment your thoughts down below on this video. Wow. What do you guys think about all this? And if you made it this far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, and give us a thumbs up so that way you can tell YouTube that you appreciate what we put down.
I had to do it really quiet because the kids are sleeping. It's okay.
Hey everybody, down in the description, there are 2 links.
One is to a GoFundMe, and the other one is to a video that explains what the GoFundMe is for. Long story short, we have a medical situation with our daughter that we have to pay for everything out of pocket, and we could really use you guys' help. If you have the time, we'd love for you to go check it out. If you have the money, the funds, we'd love for you guys to help. If not, maybe you could send a link to somebody else who can help. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Press the off button.